and again, one of the industry leaders. I'm really looking forward to hearing what's happening. Vishal Shah, the General Manager at XR at Lenovo, and his talk's going to be around ThinkReality and Enterprise First Strategy for XR. Shah.
Morning, folks. Thank you very much, Mark. Appreciate it. Appreciate the intro. Mark and I go back a long way, and I appreciate all you do for this AR, VR industry. And it's just amazing, right? It takes a village to build this ecosystem. So it's great to see Area working closely with Brain Exchange. Please give a hand out to the Brain Exchange guys. Great event. It's getting bigger and bigger. Last year, it was in San Diego. I believe they ran out of room in the hotel, so they've now expanded to Houston. I think everything is big in Texas, so they can accommodate you. But the way things are going, they might need to put us on a cruise ship pretty soon to accommodate more and more people next year. So great job again. This is one of my favorite shows. I've been in the XR industry for more than 7 years, more than I like to admit. But this is one of my favorite shows because of the end users that it attracts. I think there are a lot of good shows in the industry where they're very tech-focused or they're very industry-focused, but this is where the end users, people who have cut their teeth, people who have actually had the battle scars are actually coming in and interacting with us. So I'm always excited to be in the show and present. So it's great to keynote the second session here. So what I want to talk about is, did I miss my first slide? Yeah, so what is the strategy, right? The enterprise first. This is not moving with me, the other monitor. Excuse me, I guess. Back there? This monitor is not moving, just FYI. Okay, we'll do without it. So what's an enterprise first strategy for AR, VR, right? So Lenovo, just to give an introduction, what we do as a company, we are the largest PC maker in the world, #1 enterprise PC share, #1 data center maker in the world. We acquired the IBM data center business. We operate in over 180 plus countries, so we know a little bit about enterprise, right? I mean, that's sort of the genetics, that's the DNA we come from. And the AR, VR business is relatively new to us. We've been in that for about 4 years, but we're now getting into our third generation of products, and we've always focused on what it takes to succeed in the enterprise. So we'd love just to give you some feedback on what we've learned, and then obviously get feedback from you after the at our conference room here, right here, San Felipe, in terms of what we can do to collaborate and corroborate what I've just presented here. So, what a year it has been, right? A lot of you were here a year ago at this exact same summit in San Diego, but it's been a rough year. Let's just be very, very unvarnished about it, right? I mean, we've seen the correction in the metaverse, of a huge correction, and a rightful correction, in my opinion. I think there was just too much frothiness. There was too much of this dystopian view of how we will all be in these headsets all day in the metaverse, and we've seen a rightful correction and a change of seasons, right? I think last year, this time, October, we were at peak metaverse. I saw people doing pumpkins with virtual reality goggles on them, and that's when I knew oh shit, this thing is going to crash, right? So, again, a year later, we're right around Halloween, and we're seeing some new energy. I think the winds have shifted. The metaverse winter is over, and I think we're here again in the spring season. And the reason I believe that is just the excitement I saw at some of the previous shows, like the Augmented World Expo, what I'm seeing here, and then the fact that new entrants are coming in to the market. A lot of investments are still being made. Companies putting in billions of dollars a year to get into the metaverse, to get into AR, VR, to create solutions in AR, VR. So that's going to have a huge impact on the industry as well. So that's something that's definitely changed over the last 3 to 4 months. And the third thing is, of course, this thing called Gen AI, right? I mean, you got to be living under a rock to not talk about it, but the impact of that is going to be tremendous on this industry. I'm going to cover that a little bit. But it is the tech world in 23 is just kind of feels like this, right? So I think ChatGPT is kind of the mama's favorite right now, and the metaverse is drowning, and of course, we all know what happened with the NFT crypto bubble there, right? So that's right there in the bottom. So, and of course, a lot of you are probably looking for funding, just like, if you're in a big corporation, you're still always looking for funding, but this is who we're competing right now, right? AI is kind of definitely running the roost right now in terms of the attention. So anyway, I digress a little bit for some fun, but if you look at these 3 things that have happened over the last year, right? What does that mean for where we are going in the future? And where we are today, right? So if you look at the correction that happened in the industry, the metaverse industry, what that has really helped us with is the pivot to outcomes, the pivot to the enterprise. is the focus is on not how many people I have in my sandbox application or my Roblox application. It's about someone in learning and development worrying about this one worker who's made sure that he's got his steering in 3D so he can get to a factory line faster so that he can save a life, right? So that pivot to outcomes has been very refreshing because of this correction. And I think in some ways, you guys are the folks, you are the front line of that pivot because you've always believed in the enterprise, right? So even some of the other shows that were very consumer-centric, I've seen a very clear shift towards from consumer to enterprise, which has been very helpful for our industry in general. The second, we talked about the new entrants coming in, the new solutions that are being developed, and that will definitely help the technology evolution, right? When it comes to 4K displays, when it comes to more power-efficient chipsets, when it comes to better optics, when it comes to better solutions and outcomes. So I think overall, this is a tide that will lift all boats, and I'm really super excited that now that we're in the spring of the metaverse season, we will see technology evolve at an incredible pace. And then, of course, we talked about Gen AI and what that does, and that will definitely be a game changer in terms of solution acceleration, right? When you talk about generative AI, we think it's going to be one of the biggest force functions for AR, VR, because what is the biggest challenge in XR, in the metaverse? It's about content. It's about where the content lives, it's how you deploy the content, it's how you create the content, and it's about how you consume the content. And that is 90% of the cost when it comes to some of these deployments. That's 90% of the challenges when it comes to security. So what we strongly believe, and this is, would love to test this out with you, is that Gen AI is having a huge impact in the creation of these technologies. We've got things like text-based tools, right? Your ChatGPT kind of tools that are really helping with coding, that are helping with script creation, that's creating with role plays. So that's really helping create some of these solutions in a rapid manner as well. The second really exciting part is the art-based tools. You can now go from a text to pictures, offline on your phone. You can now go from text to 3D worlds. So being able to create this content at a much faster pace is just a huge boost for the industry. And then the third is personalization. The ChatGPT is a cloud-based large language model, right? You're not going to trust if you're a hospital, if you're a refinery, if you are a security company, you're not going to put your data on a cloud-based model. You're just not going to do it on a public cloud. So we are now seeing a lot of shifts towards the enterprise language models. And that's not either. You now have personalized models, sort of a mini Jarvis that's sitting next to your worker or always telling your worker and learning from the worker in terms of what he is good at or she's not good at and giving them instant feedback and being a co-pilot for them on the device itself. And a lot of these devices, you can now be able to run billions of nodes of your large language model on the device itself without any connectivity to the cloud. So that's something that what we call the hybrid edge AI is going to be a huge boost in terms of that overall productivity that you can achieve. And then what does that mean? For the masses, for the developers out here, for the ISVs, and the end users. It's going to be democratization of technology. I was at SIGGRAPH in LA. There's a 4-person team that's doing content that was initially being done by a 50-person media house in LA. They actually won the bid. 4 people beat a 50-person media house in LA. And if you look at LA, that's one of the best, the best content. And they are definitely seeing the impact of Gen AI there. And then just the acceleration of tools, how fast you can develop the content. I think what was taking 18 months is now taking 18 weeks sometimes. So that's going to be a huge impact in terms of the market. So just taking a sort of a step down into what ThinkReality does, what Lenovo does with our ThinkReality XR solutions. Our motto, our vision is to be the most trusted partner for our customers' intelligent transformation journey into the enterprise metaverse. Right, so just the highlight on the word most trusted. Like I said earlier, because of our enterprise heritage, we strongly believe in being a very trusted, secure platform for our IT partners, for our end customers. The second big one is the journey. This is a journey into the enterprise metaverse. It's not a destination yet, right? So how do we build a stack that's flexible, that evolves with you, and help you on this journey as an end-to-end solution provider? And then the third was, of course, is enterprise, which is what we're all about. What is required in an enterprise business is very different from what you require from a consumer business. And then in terms of the platform, right, the ThinkReality platform is one of the industry's leading end-to-end enterprise XR solutions. So we built it on 4 key layers. The first one, of course, is best-in-class hardware. Lenovo is known as the hardware company, one of the best hardware companies in the world. We ship something like 20 PCs per second from our global flat factories, right? So, and we're one of the few companies that has both an AR product line as well as a VR product line. So we made an early investment into both these platforms, VR as well as AR. The second, of course, is the cloud software. We've invested heavily in our ThinkReality cloud, which helps you manage your content, manage your data, and then work with MDMs like ArborXR, ManageXR, and some of the enterprise MDMs as well, so that we can meet the customer, meet the IT department where they are. The third is, of course, our vertical solution partners. We do not compete with our solution providers. So we want to make sure that we bring them along for this journey. They're an important part of knowing a particular vertical. So we work with ISVs like Uptail, Engage, Transfer, Pixo, Sphere. You're going to see them all in our booth here and interact with them as well. So we've got about 50 plus ISVs that we've already onboarded for our VRX product, and we've got many, many more coming out as well. So we think this is sort of having this open ecosystem of ISV providers is very key to our customers as well in terms of the flexibility. And the fourth most important one is expert professional services. So one of the lesser known parts about Lenovo is that it's a complete solutions and services provider. We provide device as a service, so you can move from OpEx to CapEx. We provide worldwide warranty services. We provide IT services, managed services. We provide cloud transformation services. One of the biggest challenges I talked about is going from 2D content to 3D content. How do you do it? Who are the right vendors? A lot of big companies such as yours are looking for one neck to choke. They don't want to work with 4 different ISVs and 4 different solution providers. We are the ones who go there and front the deal for you, and then bring along the right kind of vendors, certified vendors that will produce the outcome for you. So having that solution layer, the service layer, is very important to our end customers as well. So just to kind of build on that, right? So if you look at the hardware layer on top, we have our services and software layer that we work with our customers. And then one of the most annoying questions right now I get is what verticals are you seeing the most traction in, or what verticals does this apply to? I mean, this is like surgery. This is a transformative technology. This is like where do you use PCs in the enterprise, or where do you use cloud? It applies everywhere, guys. Once you have the right horizontal solution like corporate training, it works across just about every vertical. You have to change it slightly for healthcare. You have to change it slightly for education, state by state, country by country, as long as you have the right vertical partners, the content partners. But I hope as we educate the market more, what vertical does this apply in kind of question goes away, because this is a transformative technology of our time. This is going to impact just about every industry vertical there is. And then, like I talked about, the XR services is a very important layer for us when it comes to deployment services, device as a service. Providing those best-in-class professional services along with our partners is a huge game changer. And then, of course, these are the outcomes we provide. You've all heard about, you guys are the experts here when it comes through, whether it's remote assistance, remote worker empowerment, education, training, onboarding, et cetera. So that's how we try to create a complete end-to-end solution. Why ThinkReality? Why Lenovo? Like I said, we are enterprise-focused. This is just a friendly, not advice, but just friendly learning that I've learned is don't piss off your IT guy, right? If you don't want to be in POC purgatory, work with your IT department early. Make sure that the product you're using is something that they can onboard. Make sure you have the right security profile. Make sure you've worked with the right MDM vendors. Make sure that the supply chain that you're working with is a trusted supply chain. So it's that all these big IT companies, we mentioned some names here. A lot of them here are based in Houston. Big companies have what they call is a zero trust policy, right, in terms of their security profile. How do you work with the right kind of vendors to bring that along? So that strict privacy security standard is very important, right? So that's one of the things that we really pride ourselves on. And like I said, we have 3 core pillars of our end-to-end solution. The power of the end-to-end solution is really good for scale, which is the software, hardware, and services layer that I talked about. We are strong believers in developer freedom and the open ecosystem. We do not want our customers to get stuck in a particular cloud silo or a particular development silo. So we're working with our friends at Qualcomm on the Snapdragon Spaces ecosystem, which is an open ecosystem. We strongly support the Metaverse Forum in terms of standards and OpenXR. So when you develop something on a OpenXR platform, you should be able to transfer it to even my competitor in 6 weeks, right? So that developer freedom, that flexibility for our customers is going to be very important as we go along this journey, because our customers don't want to get stuck in a particular stack. As this technology evolves, they want the stack to evolve as well in a very rapid manner. Like I said, 50+ ISV partners and growing every day. And then, of course, a global supply chain, 180+ countries. We have big, large companies who manufacture in Kansas City, they manufacture in Germany, and they manufacture parts in China. Will your supply chain support that? Can you do global warranty? Can you do global replacement? If something goes wrong during a critical design session, are you big enough to serve them in multiple countries at the same time, right? So that's something with our operations in 180+ countries, with a global supply chain, that's something we can provide, right? So that's something that's very important when you want to scale. So I know I went all this, but I would rather have my digital twin say the same thing again. So let's do that.
The enterprise speaks their own language, and the latest word on the street is immersive technology is changing how they do business. It's why we built the Lenovo ThinkReality VRX. All-in-one VR plus full-color mixed reality with industry-leading specs, built exclusively for the enterprise. But what they're saying is, great hardware is just the start of the conversation. That's why we've also assembled a network of the most innovative software partners to create true industry solutions, improve teams, save time, save money, enable people to learn by doing, build lasting results and muscle memory with technical skills training, safe, repeatable. Teams can collaborate in XR from anywhere in the world, and yeah, that means management and support everywhere too, and provide services that fill in every gap. Even address privacy and security concerns and sticky topics like financing and procurement. All things Lenovo's mastered from decades of listening when the enterprise speaks. The Lenovo ThinkReality VRX. The conversation starts here.
So yeah, in closing, right? So we're a big believer in, like I said, in end-to-end solutions. I think for too long in this industry, people have been throwing boxes over the wall, right? You buy your hardware from somebody else, you get your software from somebody else, you get your services from somewhere else, and it just doesn't come together, right? This is a technology a little bit like IoT. It sits at the intersection of IT and OT. So having that operational support is very important in this business as well, right? So we're all about providing end-to-end solutions, and we call it solutions, not boxes. Collaborating with the best. I think right up front I said this is a team sport. XR is a team sport. I think we will need to work as a community, bring our ISVs together. I've got my good friends from NVIDIA here who were at Tech World yesterday, where we were talking about the impact of generative AI, impact of tools such as Cloud XR and Omniverse. We're working with them closely to be leaders. We've got our friends from Qualcomm here who are helping us with the chipset journey, with the Snapdragon open system ecosystem, and then of course we've got scores of ISVs that are represented here as well. So I think it's a team sport, and would love to collaborate, see how we can really bring this thing forward. And then breaking down barriers, like I said, with our services providers, with our solution providers, by working on these open metaverse standards, we do not want people to get stuck in the silos, just like we have some of the major platform players, right now in the Web 2.0 space, right? We hope that Web 3.0 is really a lot more decentralized than where we are today. So, thank you very much. Thank you for your time. You've been very kind. Would Mark?
Yeah.
Love to take any questions if there's time, or come back for more. Yeah. By the way, we are at the San Felipe conference room right around the corner before you go up. So if you want to stop by, see some demos, talk to our ISVs, or schedule some time, that'd be great.
Perfect. We've definitely got some time for some questions for Vishal. So do we have some mics as well yet? Anybody? I've got one to start with.
Come on.
Okay. So we heard yesterday about some of the challenges that companies have deploying the technology. I think it's amazing you've got the end-to-end kind of solution, but adding new technologies, AI and other things, do you think that's going to aid deployment or potentially cause more problems to deployment?
Well, it's going to be a mixed bag for sure. I mean, AI in general is not going to be that easy to deploy in the enterprise. And we had a whole session yesterday for 8 hours just to talk about how the enterprises will go around, like I said, the enterprise LLMs and then the personal LLMs that you need. So that's going to be a challenge in itself. But I think the smaller startups, we're already seeing them being very nifty around how they can use AI for themselves to create this content, right? To democratize the content. So that's already happening. There are so many websites out there right now, applications that let you go from text to video and go from text to 3D world as well. We're seeing that with NVIDIA as well. So these tools will come around very, very quickly, and the investment pace that's going out there is going to be quite, it's going to be pretty big. And then the other big element of the deployment challenge, I strongly feel, is still getting your IT team on board. Do not work this in a silo. I mean, you can be in the basement kicking around for a while, but when you want to really get scale, if you want to be the hero of the company, get your IT teams on board, learn the challenges. Otherwise, you'll be stuck, or you'll have to go back to the drawing board.
And I agree, and I know from speaking to lots of people here, where you start a project, you need to bring everybody on board.
Yeah.
Not only the security, the IT team, but the safety team, all parts of a different organization. Yeah. But I'm a big fan of planning big, but delivering small.
Absolutely.
So the kind of smaller prototypes, get people using it, get people actually in the experience, and it makes a world of difference. Perfect. I think we probably do have chance for somebody who's going to have a hard question. I'm quite good on 1980s music and sport, but otherwise we can carry on with the XR stuff. Here we go. Sorry.
Say your name and your organization.
Sure.
Hey, good morning. My name is Joseph Ciapello. I'm with the American Bureau of Shipping. My question has to deal with the, first let me say, enterprises love consistency, right?
Absolutely.
So as this technology is being developed, how far away are we from any kind of standardization between different platforms where we can fall back on that kind of consistency?
We're actually seeing a lot of work happening there. So there are two kinds of, with the UDS platform, for example, right? The UDS, USD, Universal Scene Descriptor for Content. What is happening with OpenXR and the Metaverse Foundation. So there are a few bodies that are working very closely. In fact, we had a great session with the Kronos Group at the Economist Summit as well. Are we there yet? No. It is going to be a while, but that's why I think it's very important for companies to adopt OpenXR platforms as opposed to get stuck in a silo, right? So I think this is a lot like everyone went private cloud. Everyone pivoted to the private cloud, and then they realized, oh shit, we gotta save our data, right? We gotta make sure that we have more control. We're having huge cost overruns, and now everybody's looking at a hybrid cloud or even reverting back to a personal cloud. So it's going to be a journey like that as well. But in terms of the content, right? Is your content going to work across multiple devices? We're seeing a lot of things around USD and some of those standards that the development stuff is getting pretty easy to port from one application to the other, but the runtime porting, as we call it, is getting there as well. And I think you should talk to some of the NVIDIA folks here as well. They're doing some great stuff there around Omniverse and some of the other platforms as well.
Perfect. Vishal, thank you very much
Thank
indeed.
you,
Thank
Mark.
you.
Thanks.